Welcome to the Zweig Letter Podcasts, putting architectural, engineering, planning, and environmental consulting guru Mark Zweig and his team of expert straight talk in your ear. Mark has more than 30 years of experience helping AEP and environmental firms thrive, and these podcasts deliver his invaluable management, industry, client, and HR advice directly to you, free of charge. The Zweig Letter Podcasts let you develop professionally, wherever you are.
Hey everyone, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Zweig Letter Podcast. I'm Randy Wilburn, and I'm here today with Sanjay Jenkins. We are continuing our conversation on the 5 areas of new media when it comes to hiring and keeping great talent. And we got so long-winded, Sanjay, that we had to break this podcast up because we wanted to make sure that you could consume our information in a 30-minute run and not feel like you missed out on something. Right. So I think our first section that we talked about was blogging, and that was probably the first half hour. Yeah. So now we're going to talk a little bit about social media in general. We're going to talk about the different ways to set up your social media platform and how that plays into the whole talent acquisition mindset and this whole topic of being everywhere, right, as we discussed. So we're going to spend some time talking about that today. And here is the episode. We hope you enjoy it, and please let us know what you think. I would say the second thing that you would need to do as part of this kind of be everywhere mindset and part of this approach to new media is understanding social media. Social media relies heavily on the participation of the users, and there is a considerable amount of value that is provided for those people that are active participants on a respective platform. And so, Zweig Group, we put out a bunch of surveys, surprise. And one of our surveys that we just did recently is the marketing survey for 2017. And one of the statistics, which you actually quoted in an article that you wrote. Yeah. And we're going to have to reference your article in the show notes as well, because this whole thing kind of dovetails nicely with what you talked about. Yeah. And I think that was like a 2 or 3 part article.
It's a 3-part series.
Yeah. So according to Zweig Group's 2017 marketing survey, 41% of firms spend 1 hour or less working on social media each week. Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing. Now, I can guarantee you Big Red Dog spends way more than 1 hour. Yeah. And they have something to show for it.
And if an hour a week is all you have, that's fine. You can do quite a bit of damage in that hour. The reason why I don't think the industry's doing that, one of the reasons why, again, this is from the marketing survey, 2017 marketing survey, is that 65% of AEC firms don't use any marketing automation software. If you're spending that 1 hour, if you only have an hour a week, well, you need to be building and scheduling content for the week. Right. You need to be using every piece of technology that you can to make your life easier. So you're still intentional. You're still making an effort to be everywhere, even if your time is limited. Right. We don't see that. The data just doesn't show that that's happening. And I mean, I don't even need to look at the data to know that. I've just, I've looked at enough social media channels for AEC firms, or the lack thereof, right? To know this. Be intentional, and it's not as hard as you would think it is. It's not as monumental of a task as you feel like it may be. What do you think about that, Randy?
No, I agree. I agree 100%. And I do think that, everybody has to start somewhere. Right. And, if 1 hour is all you have, then 1 hour is what you have. But I think that, we can give you a plan. Sure. You can create an editorial calendar for getting information out. There are programs like Hootsuite and others, HubSpot and others that will allow you to get more granular with your social media profiles and start pushing out information and content. Some of it is just planning properly, getting all of your information loaded up. Because I can guarantee you, there's not somebody at Big Red Dog that's just pumping out information all day long. Right. They use a program like Hootsuite or some other type of service that allows them to push out information when and where possible. And some of it's being pushed out at certain times and in certain intervals. And that's the other thing, is you have to understand the timing of when things need to get. I mean, just recognize that every social media platform that we're talking about, there is a scientific study done to determine the most optimal times to post information and put it out there, which is amazing.
It is.
Which is amazing.
And that data is always just a Google search away. And there's so many research firms, so many marketing firms that, I mean, that's not something that we necessarily have tracked before.
Right.
I can pull up some of our own data on timing and performance, but this is information that's available to all of us. It's the same data that I use to schedule our stuff here at Zweig Group, our internal marketing. And these are resources. These are resources that are out there that just need to be used.
Yeah,
that's fundamentally what it is.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the only thing that you got to do. I mean, you have to get that information out there, and you got to figure out a way to do it. And even if you have to bring one of your kids in, because some of the people that are listening to this, your kids are pretty well advanced in social media. Bring them in on a Saturday, help you set some things up. Yeah. You laugh, but I'm being serious. Right. Start somewhere, but start. Yeah. That's all. I mean,
start and keep make it the habit. Get the habit in there. It's got to be consistent, or it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Some things to keep in mind with social media. So some of the bigger platforms that AEC firms can use at their disposal, and I'll sort of talk about different ways that you can use them. Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, and that's a very interesting one. Instagram, Pinterest, Snapchat, and LinkedIn. So these are the big players.
Right.
Facebook.
Why don't you talk about each one?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go into each one. So Facebook's really great for it's sort of like an extension of your website. So I would say up until like a few years ago, the credibility for any business, any organization was, well, do they have a website and what does it look like? Well, now a lot of times what happens is people will check the Facebook page first and see, how recently did you post? What are you posting? Share your blog articles on Facebook. Share photos from your company retreat, or this fun thing you did on Friday afternoon on Facebook. Make sure, and this is something I was writing about earlier today, is make sure that the character of your firm, the spirit that everybody tries to share, is coming across in your social media. And this is not just true for Facebook, but this is for all the platforms.
Right.
And then my personal favorite, so I'm sort of like a video producer. Just like that's if someone were to ask me like who I am, that's one of the things that'll definitely pop up at the top. I love making videos.
Right.
And Facebook is, primo spot for videos.
Right. Right.
And we're actually going to go, delve deeper into that. That's our next section. But video content is easy to make.
Right.
Everybody has a smartphone. Chances are your smartphone is the best camera that you own. Like you and I both, Randy, have iPhone 7 pluses.
Yeah.
That shoots in 4K.
Yeah.
Video.
It doesn't get any better than that.
No.
The technology is there. Part of my point is that, people say, oh, well, I don't have the time or I don't have the resources. If you have an iPhone 7 or for any
6, 5,
or any of you lucky people in there have a 10, it doesn't matter. You can shoot I'm amazed. I just go and I'm just kind of randomly shooting my son's soccer games and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like I'm watching FIFA or something. It's that good. And, so I just think, the information is there. The technology is there. You got to take advantage of it.
Yeah. Earlier this week was the announcement, the sort of the unveiling of the iPhone 8 and the iPhone 10.
Right.
And everyone's like, oh, it's just another iPhone. It's what I see your ability to produce incredible content workflow just became so much faster.
Right. Plus, the average daily time spent on social media is only going to go up as more of these as more of this technology is created.
Correct.
So you create these phones where, I mean, I do a lot of my work on my phone, believe it or not. And I try not to even carry my laptop when I travel anymore.
Right.
I carry an iPad and my iPhone, and that's, when my iPhone's working, that's a whole other story. But anyway, the bottom line is that people are really spending quite a bit of time. And I think the Global Web Index said that the average online user spends over 2 hours per day on social platforms. And then when you couple that with the simple fact that 65% of AEC firms do not use any marketing automation software whatsoever to reach those mobile platforms.
Yeah.
So we are behind the curve when it comes to that. And it's really important for us to start being more proactive about how we push this information out there. So that's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's really big.
So moving forward, Twitter. When I first started working as Y Group, I wrote a social media article, and I wrote some silly. I wrote that the Twitter was in the twilight of its relevance. I was very wrong. For so many reasons.
Maybe could be. So yeah, it depends. Depends. So
Twitter is a very powerful tool. I know we've talked about it on the podcast before, in our Life's Hacker series. Engagement. Twitter is a tool to talk to just about anybody,
right?
Directly. I've had conversations with major people just because I tweeted at them,
right.
and it's something it struck a chord, or they chanced upon it. Whatever the case may be, it's a powerful tool. I mean, just like Facebook, use it as a distribution channel for all of your content, photos, videos, blog posts. But don't be afraid to have conversations. Like with Facebook, it's a little harder to have sort of like conversations that aren't centered around a topic.
Yeah.
Or like an article that someone posts. But with Twitter, that's all it is.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's almost exclusively like conversations.
Yeah. And you know what I think we should do? Because I mean, again, we're giving everybody like the Cliff Note version of this. We probably need to go deep, take an episode just to go deep in each social network and talk specifically about how you apply what we're talking about to each of them, right? Because the way that you use Facebook is not how you use Instagram.
Correct.
It's not even how you would use Pinterest and all these others. And I mean, you've got demographic rules here. I mean, you have a lot of things at play in terms of what kind of message you send through each social media channel. I mean, it's that simple. And it's not something that you'll pick up instantly. You'll through trial and error, you'll figure it out. But that's kind of like, this is what it takes. So, highly recommend that. But we'll have to mark that down, and I'm making a mental note now that we will do an episode where we kind of go deep in that area and really kind of spend some time talking about the different social media platforms. And, Sanjay, you can even talk about some of the things that you look for when you do a social media assessment.
Absolutely.
It's a new service that we're offering here at Y Group, and it just kind of allows you to really get a grade, if you will, on where your social media platform is currently and ultimately where you want it to be. Yeah,
absolutely. Just sort of like give you a preview of what I usually look for whenever I'm auditing someone's social media: engagement and posting frequency.
Yeah,
those are the two biggest. I mean, posting frequency, one, just because of the industry and given. It's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
I really do need to know how often you're posting, because that drives engagement a lot as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And engagement, that's likes, retweets, comments, and likes in the comments especially. That's something that I've been thinking about a lot lately and really prioritizing. That's very meaningful. If someone takes the time to write a comment on something that you put out.
Oh yeah. You need to respond. You need to respond.
Proper dedication. Yeah. That is a deliberate move.
Yeah, it's almost like you know how it is. You've been somewhere and somebody says hi to you and you don't say hi to them back. It's like, oh my God, what's going on here? Is society falling by the wayside?
Right.
But it's almost that same idea. That's like, look, people are taking the time to say something to you. You need to say something back. It's the right way to do it.
Right.
So, yeah. So highly recommend that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Know what you're going to say?
So just sort of go through some of the remaining social media platforms that we listed off earlier. Google Plus, no one uses it.
Yeah.
No one. I mean, I'm going to be totally honest. Very few people use it.
Yeah, I know.
However, this is something that I found recently because it's a Google product. Posting stuff like links to your blog posts, things like that honestly helps with your SEO a little bit.
It does.
And
scary but true.
It's they own, they're the search engine.
Yep.
So I mean, obviously they're going to try to prioritize their own network.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. And I'm honestly doing some more research on how Google Plus can be utilized. So I'll definitely share that with you all as I learn myself.
Yeah. And some of this stuff, I mean, again, don't want this to be too overwhelming for you.
Right.
Some of this stuff is set it and forget it. And then some of it is like, okay,
you got to manage it.
Yeah, you got to manage it.
Yeah.
And so I really, really want to encourage you to figure out, well, how do I make this work within the confines of what our firm's abilities are and how we can, kind of make this happen. So again, we don't want it. We already know that you're behind the 8 ball on projects and that you've got talent issues in terms of enough people to handle all the work that you probably have in front of you. We know the plights of firms in the design and construction space, but we certainly want to give you some solutions and some tips that will be helpful for you as far as that's concerned. Did you mention all of the different social media platforms?
I listed them. So I was going to, Instagram. Right, we've talked about that on the Life Hacker series. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go too in depth here right now. Just remember, as I always say, 11 plus hashtags.
Exactly.
Pinterest is really cool, especially for those of you who do some really interesting design work.
I know.
Especially like architecture or interior design, landscape
architecture. Yeah. All that kind of stuff lends itself really well to Pinterest.
Yeah.
And lends those boards to be shared.
Mm-hmm.
So really, really recommend that people try to figure out those things.
Correct.
It's not just for, your spouse's, hobby. It can be, there are real world business applications, and there are people making a ton of money.
Oh yeah.
On some of these sites.
Mm-hmm.
So, you want to keep that. What about Snapchat?
Snapchat, this is interesting. And this is probably the first time, maybe, that I'm going to make a recommendation that's going to actually cost you real money. I want you to spend $129 buying Snapchat glasses. You can order them off of Amazon now too. I actually just saw that this morning.
Okay.
$129 Snapchat glasses.
I saw they have a mobile Snapchat.
It's a vending machine.
Yeah. And they had one in Austin at the Domain in Austin, and I thought that was kind of cool. So
yeah. So what the Snapchat glasses do, they actually link to your Snapchat account.
Yep.
So A, set up a Snapchat account for your company. B, get all the people, especially your younger folks, are more likely to be on Snapchat. And this will be a really good time to sort of bring them into the fold and show that you actually, you understand where the market is. You understand where the attention is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make sure that everybody who wants to is following your Snapchat account.
Yep.
And then take these glasses, give it to one of those people with the Snapchat account, hook up the business's account to their phone, and have them walk around and Snapchat their day, a day in the life from their actual point of view.
Right.
Like it's literally from how you see the world and what you're looking at.
Yep.
And it's super. I got a pair mostly as a novelty. I actually wore them when I graduated from college. I was walking across the stage. The dean of the Walton College of Business, he and I had a good little chat while I was doing that because I was recording the whole thing, and I actually got a chance to shake the keynote speaker at the our commencement speaker.
Were you able to save those videos?
Yeah, I saved those videos. I put them on Instagram. Interestingly enough, I tagged the commencement speaker on Instagram, and he followed me back.
Okay,
so it's just he runs a pretty big media company out in Los Angeles, and his business partner is Ron Howard. So it's just it's a fun little thing.
Wow.
But the Snapchat glasses, super useful tool. A lot of fun to use too.
Yeah.
I have a teal pair. I implore you to get a teal pair or a bright orange pair, not just the standard black ones.
Right.
But it's $129 well spent, and it may seem like a novelty, a toy, but it can be a very powerful marketing tool.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll have to take a closer look at those.
Yeah.
And I've thought about getting a pair of the black ones I like, but we'll see how that goes. So I'll report back on that
for sure.
So what about anything else? I know you mentioned LinkedIn.
Yeah. And
that's kind of like the
everybody's
elephant in the room that everybody knows about. So
it's actually really underutilized. I didn't really start getting into LinkedIn until very recently, and it's actually a very engaging community. I did not realize just how many people used LinkedIn on a daily basis until I started working here and started using LinkedIn on a daily basis.
Right. Yeah. It's a big community.
It is. And what's really cool, LinkedIn's just starting to roll out video functionality, native video functionality. They're going to be coming out with a live video product soon. So this will just flow into our section on video as well.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But again, distribution, be everywhere. Your audience on LinkedIn is going to be much more professional, much more sort of like dialed into the technical and more business side of things, right? So this right now, this whole conversation, I don't want this to be forgotten. We're trying to help you recruit and retain talent.
Yeah.
Through this discussion. Channels like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, they will showcase your culture, your people really well.
Yep.
If you want a really good audit of your business, what your business is about, what they're doing, the kind of progress that's being made, the growth that's happening, share that on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
People are going to find it. People are going to respond to that. People want to know about these things. And that's my sort of, that's how I use LinkedIn. That's my mindset when approaching LinkedIn.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, wow. That's, that certainly is, that's a lot of information there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've only gotten through, we're almost an hour into this podcast recording, and we've only gotten through 2 areas.
Yeah.
We've talked about social media, and we spent the first few minutes talking about blogging. And obviously, as you can see, there is so much to discuss and to talk about, and I want to give it all the appropriate time that it needs to have. So I'm thinking that maybe we'll continue this conversation and figure out a way to keep expanding this topic, and kind of go from there. So what we'll do is we'll continue next week when we get back from Hot Firm.
Mm-hmm.
And that way we can talk a little bit about Hot Firm and our experiences there.
Yeah.
And then we can get into, we'll talk about audio and video. We'll spend some time talking about virtual reality and augmented reality in terms of new media. And we'll spend some time on digital gaming and gamification. And I hope that will be helpful for you as you, as you figure out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So that will be that. So why don't we do that? We'll end with that, and we've got 2 really good topics that we were able to go through: social media and blogging specifically, and we'll get back to the other 3, and those will be in an upcoming episode of this Zweig Letter podcast. And that way everybody gets a chance to digest this information. I know it's a lot, and sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming. So let's figure that out, and we'll go from there. So how does that sound?
That sounds really good. And I would ask, keep an eye out on these Zweig Letter and the Zweig Group Facebook pages. We will be going live a lot while we are in Seattle.
Yeah.
That whole, just so you're aware, Randy, I'm going to be recording everything at night. I'm going to be editing, so you're going to be seeing a lot of really cool stuff that we're doing out there.
Depending on when you're listening to this, it may be after the fact. You can still go to the Facebook page and check it out and see what Sanjay and I were doing in Seattle. We're also going to do some other things around the way. So, certainly would encourage you to check that out when you get a chance, and just visit our Facebook page. Folks, I want to encourage you today to get a free subscription of Civil plus Structural Engineer magazine. And to sweeten the pot, we are throwing in a couple of issues of the Zweig Letter too. Just visit freetzl.zweiggroup.com and leave us your email address. We'll take care of the rest. Everything will be delivered to you electronically. In addition, if your firm is looking to hire great talent, please join our mailing list for AEC Workforce. Just text the word "hire faster" to 66866, and that will get you on the list where you will learn more about this upcoming job board for the design and construction industry. As a reminder, all Zweig Group media programs like this one are available in both podcast and, in some instances, video format, free for download on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and YouTube, just to name a few places. A link to all of this information, including contact information for our guests, will be in our show notes. And we'd love it if you'd go to iTunes or wherever you tune into this show and give us a rating and share this link with a friend. I'm Randy Wilburn.
I'm Sanjay Jenkins.
And you've been listening to Zweig Group Media, part of Zweig Group. Remember, we exist to make you more successful. Bye for now.
Thanks for tuning in to this Zweig Letter podcast. We hope that you can apply Mark's no-holds-barred advice to your daily professional life. For a free transcript of this or any episode of our podcast, please visit info.zweiggroup.com/podcast. If you want more wisdom and inspiration, in addition to information about finance, HR, and marketing your firm, subscribe to the print or digital version of the Zweig Letter online at zweiggroup.com/publications.